All right, so we're going to transition to Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving Day football is a American classic. The first game at 1 o'clock, the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions, an NFC North showdown. These two teams played in week 1 of the season, where the Packers picked up a win in Green Bay. Mason, I'll start with you. Who wins this matchup, and what, based on that result, how do you think that shapes the rest of the NFC playoffs?
I think this is going to be an absolute stinker, and the Lions are going to win it. This is going to be a snoozer before Thanksgiving dinner, because both these teams right now just look absolutely mid. They both couldn't get anything going against the Eagles, and granted, weather was a factor in both those games, but the Eagles look absolutely terrible, and neither of those teams could beat them. And then they both ended up in dogfights against the Giants. So not a great showing for both these teams the last couple weeks. But I think the Lions get back from week 1. They got beat up a little bit. And I think these teams are a lot. I mean, at that point, we thought the Packers thought that they were going to go undefeated after that week 1 win.
I wonder if that guy still thinks that.
Yeah, I think these teams are a lot closer right now. It's in Detroit, and this is their second home game in a row. They love playing dome ball, so they're gonna get it going a little bit. And yeah, I don't know. I think I don't know what the line is, but I don't like
2.5 for Detroit.
Yeah, so it's probably gonna end up being a stinker. I don't think it's gonna be very enjoyable, but we can hope for some entertainment on Thanksgiving, and I'm gonna take the Lions.
All right, Kyle, I'll go to you next. Who do you have winning the Lions-Packers matchup?
So, everybody thought the NFC North was going to be insane this year because you had 3 playoff teams that Packers won, 12 games, 11 games, whatever, and then you had the Lions winning 14 and the Vikings winning 13. So people thought the NFC North was going to be crazy, and I bet schedule makers were like, oh, Packers-Lions on Thanksgiving, oh, this is going to be cinema. Well, It's cinema, all right. It's about the freaking seedy 3 a.m. shitty movie you watch, because this looks like it's going to be like they have similar issues where they just don't know how to close games. Like that, watching the Lions made me appreciate the one thing that Sirianni does, which is somehow win the game in the end. So okay, maybe these people actually have a point.
That's bold out of you.
Because I don't even get me started, bro. But yeah, so I think it's gonna be a track meet. Gibbs is probably gonna go for 250 yards again out of nowhere, and then we'll have Jameson Williams do nothing, and Amon-Ra St. Brown do about 100 yards, touchdown, 8 catches. But yeah, and then Packers are gonna do whatever. So I think it'll be close, 27-24. Lions win at home.
All right, it's 2 picks for the Lions.
Ethan,
I'll throw it to you. Green Bay at Detroit. Who do you like?
All right, I would love to break up the Lions love here. However, my agenda all season is that the Packers have been total frauds. I don't even think I picked them to make the playoffs at the beginning of the year. So I think I'm going to have to stick with the Lions on this one. I mean, come on. Jordan Love is he's just not it. I'm sorry. He might have one of the highest contracts in the NFL. He just is not. What does he do that makes you think that he's an elite quarterback? Every time I watch him, sure, he's probably good at everything, but I don't think he's great at anything. And he's just not consistent in the slightest. And I mean, Goff is inconsistent as well with the last 2 games, but I think I would rather have Goff, honestly, over Jordan Love. So
I don't know about that.
I don't know. I would. I don't know. I just am not. I've never been a Jordan Love guy ever.
Jordan Love reminds me of Carson Wentz in the way that he'll play great for 90% of the game, and then he'll just have one or two plays where you're like, what the fuck is he doing? So I think that sort of poisoned. But overall, I think Jordan Love's good. But yeah, there's 1 or 2 plays a game where he severely hurts his team. So
he's like the Aaron Nola of because he'll play good enough, and then it always ends with a terrible taste in your mouth. He's always, they keep Nola in there for one batter too long. He makes one too many bad throws. That's my comparison.
I'm gonna have to make a really niche TikTok of just like mashing up Ethan talking about Jordan Love and having an Aaron Nola clip play underneath him.
We got a lot of them you can pick from.
Yeah.
Aaron
Yes,
Nola.
a lot of them.
Every game.
Like when he
Check
had that
any-
perfect game
check
into the
any-
ninth inning,
Yeah,
against
check any
the-
Rav fourth inning that Aaron Nola has pitched, and you'll be in good shape.
Sorry, Aaron. But yeah, so looks like there's a clean sweep for the Lions coming across the board here, except I'm gonna go with the Green Bay Packers.
Ooh.
I think that the Lions are in trouble with the play calling. The fact that Dan Campbell is now calling plays for them offensively
and he has
concerns
field
me.
glasses.
Yeah, I mean, dude's looking down at the Applebee's
That's
menu.
another
He's kind of
thing.
getting
That
up
was
into Andy
hilarious.
Reid territory a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. You can't be the kneecap dude when you wear glasses on the sideline.
I agree. But like right now,
He's
the
just trying to
Lions,
see.
yeah, he's trying to read what I don't even remember.
Yeah,
the
but
other-
he's letting his weakness
play
show.
caller.
You have to be a real man and never show any of your weaknesses.
True.
Dan Campbell's not a fan of this podcast. So we live in a world, right, where the Chicago Bears are at the top of the NFC North, and I think that the Lions and the Packers are both like on the outskirts of the playoffs right now. And I think we live in a world where the Bears could very easily drop off and miss the playoffs despite being in this great position that they're in right now. I would expect for the Eagles to beat them.
They're not going to like that, bro. If you post that clip to TikTok, all the Bears fans are going to come
be all
for you.
over that.
Sorry,
Look at
Bears
that-
fans,
on
Look
but
at that
bro.
schedule they got coming up. Eagles, Packers twice, 49ers,
Win,
Lions.
Win. Niners lost, Lions win.
And then they got to play Shador. Ah,
Shador
Sounds
yeah,
like
he
they're
might run for
going
his money.
13-4.
you think?
Sounds like the Bears are winning out, according to Kyle. But yeah, I just think that Green Bay needs this game a little bit more than Detroit does. And I think that Detroit, despite being on the outside looking in, I just don't. They have, amazing playmakers with Gibbs, with Jamison Williams, with Amon-Ra St. Brown. But just the inconsistencies offensively has me leaning towards Green Bay. I think Jordan Love is due for one of those games that makes you say, okay, I can see it with Jordan Love. It's been a few games for him where he's just kind of scraped wins together. I think about that Giants game a few weeks ago where the Giants had them on the ropes the entire time. And Love had to just pull one out late to get the job done. I think he is due for a statement game, so that I'm confident with my pick of the Green Bay Packers and Jordan Love. Slight bias in this one because I have the Packers going to the Super Bowl. But regardless, I think tight NFC North matchup. I'm going to go with the Pack.
Malik Willis is QB1.
He might be. He might be. So that is the first game on Thanksgiving. And then we transition into what I think is going to be awesome. The Dallas Cowboys host the Kansas City Chiefs. Everybody's favorite, the Kansas City Chiefs on prime time. They go against the Cowboys. It's interesting to see who's like rooting for what team to win. Obviously, if you're a division rival, you're going to root for the other team. But just America, right? Like most of America does not like the Cowboys. Most of America does not like the Chiefs. So it'd be interesting to see who people are rooting for other than their bet slips. But Ethan, I'll start with you here. Chiefs at the Cowboys. Who do you like on Thanksgiving?
I feel like this isn't really like a Thanksgiving type of game. Like this doesn't feel like a normal Cowboys opponent, like for a Thanksgiving game. But this game does have a really big feel to it. To me, like this has the most gravity. I feel like out of any of the games this weekend, for whether it's that star and the Chiefs or whatever reason. But I don't know. I almost want to pick the Cowboys. Unfortunately, I don't know what it is, but there's something about them this year at home where they like. Isn't it like they scored like 40 points 3 times at home, and they've scored 20 points, I think, at least 24 points in every home game so far. And the Chiefs have they didn't score. They had 9 points up until 8 minutes left in that game. So I think that they've been having, as good as Mahomes has been sometimes, I think they can go long spells without scoring. And I mean, the Cowboys defense, I think, is a worse unit than the Chiefs defense, but I think the Cowboys offense might be able to put up a lot of yards on the Chiefs defense tomorrow. I don't like my pick, but I think the Cowboys might win tomorrow.
All right, Ethan going with the Dallas Cowboys over the Chiefs. I like it.
I don't.
Mason, I'll go to you. As an Eagles fan, You don't like either.
I don't, honestly. My head is telling me to think logically and pick the Cowboys, but I hate the Cowboys, and especially after last week, I'm gonna listen to my heart, and I'm gonna go with the Chiefs here. Listen, I'm a firm believer in the Chiefs are gonna run this and win the AFC West, maybe not, but they're gonna make the playoffs and make a run because they're the Chiefs, and that's what they do. I think that the Chiefs have a little bit of fire to them right now. I think they've believed themselves into being underdogs, which I guess like kind of they are now, but they've also played themselves into this hole. But I think they kind of have that edge back a little bit that maybe they didn't have in years past when they just kept winning. And I mean, yeah, this definitely has a big game feel. It really, I think it's just because at this point, this matters so much for both these teams. It's definitely going to be a who wants it more because both of these teams essentially need to win out or very close to. I mean, the Cowboys definitely need to win out.
Like
Maybe the
the
Chiefs.
playoff mix with a win here. Like this could be.
Yeah.
Like they
They
have some
have to
tough
win.
games left this year, but they could do some. They could get on a run. Maybe
It's a must win.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of a must win for both too. Mainly for the Chiefs, less so for the record and more so for the tiebreakers, just because all those wild card teams have the tiebreaker over them. So even though they have a game up on the different conferences, but even though they're 6-5 compared to the Cowboys, who definitely need to win out the way the NFC is looking, just to get ahead of all those tiebreak teams, the Chiefs also need this one. So I don't know. Hopefully it's a good game. I'm kind of scared. I'm going to be rooting for the Chiefs, but I'm kind of scared for them because, like Ethan said, it kind of feels like they're hot and cold. And if the Cowboys are firing on all cylinders, I don't know if they can keep up with them. But I'm going to believe, and I'm going to go with the Chiefs.
All right, Kyle, I'll go to you. Kansas City at Dallas, Thanksgiving Day. Who do you like?
I like the Chiefs because we've seen Dallas' defense now for 2 weeks. Quinn Williams has done a lot for that unit. They look a lot better now, but I'm not putting a bunch of stock into them just yet because they played the Raiders, who they have some pretty insane offensive stats in the bad way. They've like their touchdown percentages and I think they haven't scored a touchdown in multiple games. So like they're not exactly the greatest show on turf. And then you have the Eagles, who have a well-documented issue on offense right now. So I think this week with Mahomes and Andy knows he's looking like he's lost a call or two. But I think if any defense is going to get exposed early on, it's going to be the Cowboys defense with Mahomes running the show, whether it's Rashee Rice running a lot of crossers or whatever, exploiting zones, or Travis Kelce just sitting in zones. I think the Chiefs have the weapons to maybe make them look worse than we've seen in the last couple of weeks. And then the Cowboys offense, I mean, you can say whatever you want. They're good. So I'm not going to gas them up too much, but they got weapons on offense. So, but at the same point as Mason and Ethan both said, it's almost as close as you can get to win or go home for both teams. So this is like whoever wins, you're on a good path to the playoffs. If you lose, you're pretty much cooked, especially the Cowboys. So I think it'll be good. I think it'll be intense. But I think Mahomes clutches it out and he starts his campaign to knock out the Broncos in the playoffs through the wild card. So we're looking forward to that.
I will also say it does feel like the perfect letdown spot for the Cowboys. After the largest comeback victory in franchise history, and everyone always loves to say, everyone always loves to say this is the time of year that they win the Super Bowl. And it does feel like it would be perfectly.
It's just enough to keep Cowboys fans happy over the offseason.
Yep. And there's nothing sweeter than when you watch the Cowboys lose in that Giant Stadium and how sad the camera points to all the sad Cowboys fans in their stupid outfits. Oh, it's beautiful.
Well, as much as it pains me, I'm going to stay on the Chiefs train. I think they need this. They both need to win, and we just talked about that, right? But I think even with a win for Dallas, the odds of them getting in the playoffs are so slim. I think if the Chiefs lose this game, it is actually wraps for them. Like I know that they could afford, in a sense, a loss down the stretch, but man, it just makes it so much harder for them. They won last week against the Colts, and they lost a position in the playoffs. They dropped from the 8th seed to the 9th seed. And that, I mean, their odds to make the playoffs went up. But still, I mean, it's just a loaded bunch at the bottom of that AFC right now, and they don't have any of the tiebreakers. So it'll be interesting to see. Actually, it'll be interesting to see if the Colts hold on to the AFC South at this rate, because the race is getting a little tight now. So maybe that head-to-head over Indy might play a role for them late in the year. But for the Cowboys game on Thursday, I think that the Cowboys defense is still trying to find itself. And I think if it is a close game, it favors Kansas City. They finally won a one-score game against Indianapolis on Sunday. They broke the 0-5 record that they've had in one-score games this year, so averaging out a little bit there. And if this is a track meet, kind of like Mason was saying, the Cowboys will win. But if it is a tight game, defenses are playing well, I have to give it to Mahomes and the Chiefs. So in a must-win game to keep their playoff hopes alive, in a big spot against a defense that should allow them to score points, I'm going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, if they lose, I won't be upset about it by any means, but I just don't see Dallas pulling through in this matchup. But we shall see. All right, and then that takes us to the final game on Thanksgiving. The Baltimore Ravens are taking on the Cincinnati Bengals in Baltimore. Joe Burrow is expected to make his return to the Cincinnati Bengals, who are sitting at 3-8 season, once again on the brink. They'd have to win out, and a lot of other stuff would have to happen for the Bengals. But they could, in a sense, I guess, go through the North if they caught fire and the Ravens slowed down. Baltimore, after I said that they would, have rattled off 5 straight victories. They're 6-5. They're back on top of the AFC North. The Steelers have crumbled, much to my prediction. Ravens get the Bengals on Thursday. They get the Steelers after that, and the Bengals the week after. So a lot of big AFC North matchups coming down the pipeline in the next 3 weeks or so. So Bengals and the Ravens. Kyle, I'll start with you here. Joe Burrow making his return. We thought he might not come back this year, but he is back for the last couple of months of the season. Can he save the Bengals season, or are the Ravens just going to be too much for him on Thursday?
Yeah, man. I mean, what are they, 3-8?
3-8.
Yeah.
3-8.
No, it's with no T. Higgins, by the way, this week.
T's out?
Oh. Yeah, I think Zach Taylor said yesterday that Joe was in, but T. Higgins was going to be out. But yeah, Jamar Chase is back from his spitting suspension.
Yeah, so I mean, Bengals overall, I mean, it's the same story, different year. Wasn't it last year they started off similar, or it was just – and they barely missed the playoffs because of like some weird tiebreakers at the very end of the season. So, I mean, this is par for the course. They'll probably rattle off. I mean, yeah, you could do 9-8 at the best, and the Chiefs have 6 wins already, and they're the 9th seed. So I don't know exactly how much wiggle room there is for the Bengals, even if they do win out.
Mm-hmm.
And Burrow coming back, I mean, he could go in and light it up, but the Ravens are also interesting. So maybe Burrow actually looks good, and people are like, oh, wait, do the Bengals have a shot? But I think overall, wait, isn't Lamar hurt?
Lamar is questionable, but I can't imagine he's going to miss this game.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of factors at play here, typical AFC North shenanigans. But I think overall, I think the Ravens will clutch this one out, probably squeak out like a weird score, probably going to be like freaking 5-3 or something. But I think the Ravens will probably squeak out a close one in some super weird AFC North style game.
Give us a good nighttime game. The nighttime games on Thanksgiving are never good. Give us a good one.
I'm saying over 0.5 ejections.
Oh, taking the over.
Ooh, nice.
Someone's getting ejected.
I like it.
Someone wants to get to Thanksgiving dinner a little early.
Someone's gonna.
If I had to say, it's 100% going to be a scrub on the Bengals defense that's going to get ejected.
I really hope that happens so that I can come back to this moment in the episode, but that would be awesome. Okay, so Kyle's going with the Ravens. At that point, the Ravens would be 7-5 and in the driver's seat for the North. So I think it's a very pivotal game for them. Mason, I'll throw it over to you. Can Joe Shiesty, Joe Cool get the Bengals back in their winning ways?
I do not think so. I think at this point, and when we did the buy one, sell one episode, I bought on the Bengals thinking that they could hover around 500 and then their schedule would lighten up a little bit and Joe Burrow would be able to come back. But at this point, they have dug themselves a hole way too far to get out of. And Joe Burrow is still going to need his little warm up period here because he does it every single year, which he pretty much didn't get this year because he got injured. Of his 3 games where he stinks, and then the Bengals dig themselves their hole at the beginning of the year. So he's still got to get through that stretch. So we're probably going to see some of that on Thursday. But I think overall, this game is. I'm kind of getting the same vibes. I mean, I guess Packers Lions could be a little bit more interesting. Maybe that's not going to be a stinker. But this one, to me, really has stinker written all over. I mean, Kyle said it like this might be like a 9-4, like some
Actually,
weird.
I forgot the Bengals defense is historically ass. It's going to be 40-6.
Well, I think that's the issue, though, is like when even since Lamar's come back, I think, and he's questionable this week. I'm not really sure what he's dealing with, but it seems like he's been dealing with something because they haven't been firing in all cylinders, and especially he hasn't been performing up to his standard. So to me, this game doesn't look like it's going to be that great. It's probably going to be a similarly struggling, injured Lamar Jackson and a Joe Burrow week 1, essentially coming back from injury. I think it's going to be some ugly offense and probably still terrible defense, but I think the offenses are not going to be able to get moving in this game.
Do you think the Ravens score more than 37?
Ooh.
Do I think that the Ravens in this game? No.
Yeah. Wow. So
This
you
is not
think
gambling
Justin
advice.
Fields is better than Lamar Jackson?
Correct.
Because the
Right now,
Jets-
yes.
That's fire. There we go.
What's that?
So I'm gonna go with the Ravens, but I think it's gonna be a stinker. Another one.
All right.
Hopefully that
Ravens.
Chiefs Cowboys game is good because it says ugly games looking like.
Yeah. All right, Ethan. You are notoriously a Bengals truther, have been for many years now.
I
Will you-
I don't know
will you
if truth
continue
is
that?
the word because I'm usually wrong.
Ethan loves his big cat teams.
He does love the big cat.
But I mean, listen, I mean, why not? Well, I think the Bengals might. No, just kidding. I think I have to go with the Ravens on this one. It's just too. It really is a shame for the Bengals because if their defense wasn't absolutely horrendous, that Joe Burrow or the Joe Flacco trade would have actually worked because he had those 2 games where they put up like 38 and 42 points, but they lost to the Jets and the Bears. So like, if they win those games, they're like, what are they? 6-5 and are they like 5-5 or 6?
They'd be 5 and 6.
5 and 6. So I mean, they at least could be in a more reasonable hole than what they are now. And then maybe the Patriots game goes a different way, but so on and so forth. But I think the Ravens are on a roll right now. I don't really know. The Ravens, they might only lose one more game like the rest of the year, honestly. They could end up with 10 or 11 wins after starting 1-5 because they still have 2 more games against the Bengals. They play the Steelers again, which I mean, I don't know. If you're a believer in the Steelers right now, I don't know what to tell you. I don't think there's any way that they're with the way that this division's going right now. I think the Ravens are on the roll. So, unfortunately for my Bengals truthers out there, it's just not the year. They really should probably just let Joe Burrow just sit for the rest of the year, so that way he doesn't die and then tear an ACL that's going to last until next season. Because I can just envision something like that happening. He comes in for it's like the what is it like when Drew Brees came in for that worthless game and then he like tore his leg or whatever, and then the Chargers just decided to not ever have him again. Not that Joe Burrow's going anywhere, but you just don't want to see a great quarterback like that get hurt in useless games in a useless season at this point. Like 3-8, your season's pretty much done.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm not bucking the trend here. I'm going with the Ravens. They get to 7-5. They have a commanding lead in the division, and then they get the Steelers, Bengals the next 2 weeks to really solidify their grip on the AFC North. And I think this is a team that's starting to find itself. I think the defense is playing much better than it was in the beginning of the year. And I think they'd be a tough matchup in round 1 for whoever they end up playing. Because at this rate, they're going to end up being the 4 seed in the playoffs unless the AFC South has a little bit of a collapse here. So they're going to be home against Buffalo, home against, the Jags, home against the Chargers, home against the Chiefs if they go on a run. So they're going to be a tough matchup for whoever they get in the first round, despite not having a great regular season. And we talked about early before the season started, and we were giving predictions. about like we talked about Josh Allen, how I felt this was the year for him to have to win the Super Bowl, because if it didn't happen this year, it wasn't going to happen. Which I feel more validated on that take because of some of the younger teams that are stepping up now, and the Bills are starting to fall off. We talked about Lamar in that same vein. Like, this has to be the year that you break through when it feels more wide open than it ever has. And I feel like that has come true. And the fact that the regular season hasn't gone according to plan for the Ravens is okay right now because they control their destiny at this point. There looked like a period of time where that might not be the case. If the market's in the playoffs as an underdog, we were talking, Mason, you mentioned how the Chiefs are buying into that underdog mentality. If the Ravens fuel themselves doing that same thing, they could be a dangerous team that wins a home game, and then we might get a couple upsets in that first round. The bottom seeds in the AFC are going to be really good. So we'll see how that shakes out. But I think Baltimore could be dangerous if they really start to put things together. I think this is a nice, easy win for them on Sunday. I hope it's a better on Thursday for Thanksgiving. I hope it's a better game than we're all anticipating. We'll have to see, but I think the Ravens come away with a victory.